The way you're going about goal setting as we enter another new year may actually be keeping you from achieving your goals. One of the biggest takeaways I had studying positive psychology for my master's degree was just how wrong our sports teams, our school systems, businesses, and therefore us personally get goal setting. The good news is the solution is as simple as a mindset shift, but as powerful as a totally new year of possibility. What I'm teaching you today not only improves your chance of attaining your goals, but it makes the process a heck of a lot more fun. My name is Mara Lalka, and I am your decision coach. I'm also the #1 new release author of Ready Enough, which you can receive chapter 1 for free by clicking that link in the description. So let's start with what we get wrong about goal setting. What we get wrong is the belief that self-criticism is the way to set goals and attain them. This can show up in big ways like being really hard on yourself or thinking that somehow your worth is set on whether or not you achieve a goal in the future. Or it can show up in smaller, trickier ways, like always looking at how much left you have instead of celebrating how much you have already achieved. And if you like to nerd out every now and then, like myself, here's some stats to back up this theory. An article by Powers and team shows an array of activities tend to have a self-critical approach, from musicians to weight loss, academic performance, and athletes. Self-denigration and harsh internal judgment of the self-critic appear to impede effective goal pursuit. So if they approached it through this self-critical lens, the less likely they were to achieve their goals in any of those different areas. Self-criticism is negatively associated with goal progress due to its positive correlation between rumination and procrastination. Do you feel that one? Rumination and procrastination impeding your ability to achieve your goals. And while there are many strategies to get through procrastination and rumination, what if we could get at the root of it, one of them being this self-critical lens? Along these same lines, self-critics can be expected to be more focused on avoiding failure and preventing potential loss of self-esteem than on effective goal pursuit, which makes total sense. If you're hard on yourself and you don't achieve your goals, you're going to feel even worse about yourself. So consciously or subconsciously, you may actually be self-sabotaging due to fear of not achieving those goals. So you just don't even want to look at them or pursue them. Maybe you don't even set the goals in the first place or set as ambitious goals as you possibly could. Next, I will share the simple mindset shift that is the opposite of self-criticism. And not only, again, does it feel better, but it helps you attain your goals, and that is shown by the research. But before getting into self-compassion, I'm going to address fears that come up when this is even presented as a solution. Because in all of these studies of self-criticism versus self-compassion, researchers consistently find a fear of adopting a self-compassionate lens, even though self-compassion works. And I'll go into more detail about the grand benefits of self-compassion in a moment. Ferguson's research, for instance, women were concerned with becoming complacent if they were too self-compassionate. Self-compassionate approach might result in mediocrity or passivity. Are you already thinking the same? Or with Gilbert and team, they found in a group of chronic mental health patients, their first movement towards self-compassion was often met with doubt, fear, and resistance, linked to feelings of whether compassion was deserved, whether it was a weakness, unfamiliarity with compassion, unresolved grief of wanting to love, but often feeling lonely, rejected, or simply never considering the value of self-compassion in the past. So I wanted to address that before going into the benefits of self-compassion, because as I present this as a way for you to decide what goals to set for 2022, you may feel that internal resistance and doubt to self-compassion being the answer, and that is normal. Also, even more reason to listen closely to this next part of the benefits of self-compassion. They are undeniable. So I already spoiled it. Self-compassion is the answer, but what does this actually mean? In my studies, I followed Kristen Neff's work, which defines self-compassion using 3 components: mindfulness, self-kindness, and common humanity. I won't go into the details, but essentially, it's more than just being kind to yourself. It's also thinking of the bigger picture, so staying mindful of the situation, and also remembering we are not alone in our feelings, in our fears, and also in our victories. And again, to address those fears of self-compassion leading to complacency or self-compassion not being something we deserve, or just buying into the theory many of us grew up with, which is self-criticism is better. From Neff's research, truly having compassion for oneself entails desiring health and well-being for oneself, which means gently encouraging change where needed and rectifying harmful or unproductive patterns of behavior. Think of this as someone else you care for. If you really care for your friend or your family member, would you let them do something that is harmful for themselves or bad for their health? Would you write them a permission slip all always to just let things slide that they're actually wanting to do and attain? Probably not. That's where things like tough love come in, or just having those honest, genuine conversations, encouraging someone to go after what they said that they wanted. Same with self-compassion. It includes the motivation and the encouragement of ourself to do what is best for us in the long run and the short run. Furthermore, Neff goes on to explain having compassion for oneself implies that individuals will try to prevent the experience of suffering in the first place, which gives a rise to proactive behaviors aimed at promoting or maintaining well-being. And just to bring this point home, Moswich also had a study come out that said while self-compassion requires an absence of harsh self-criticism for failing to meet certain standards, it does not mean that one's failures or shortcomings are left ignored or unchanged. And this was shown in their research study, that those who adopted a self-compassionate lens didn't just avoid looking at their failures or avoid any negative emotions whatsoever. Self-compassion just helps to build a more positive relationship with the idea of failure and learning and progress. On to the benefits. Self-compassion acts as a buffer against outcomes that rely on highly self-evaluative processes, which is exactly aligned with goal setting for the new year. Even more specific, self-compassion helps to buffer against anxiety in self-evaluative situations. So if you're feeling anxious at all about the new year and the goals you have for 2022, this is your ticket through. Self-compassion is related to more stable feelings of self-worth that were less contingent on particular outcomes. While your goal is still to achieve that goal, your self-worth doesn't become contingent on that outcome, which is essential to the holistic view of well-being and essential to continued motivation no matter what challenges are thrown your way. And lastly, I think this is a really important point. Self-compassion involves more interconnectedness and less separate view of the self because it provides a sense of meaning that does not require puffing the self up or putting others down. Those who experienced an increase in self-compassion experienced increased social connectedness and decreased self-criticism, depression, rumination, thought suppression, and anxiety. That piece about connection particularly resonated with me as I was reviewing the research because of how the last 2 years have been. Not only is this helping you to achieve your goals, but helping you feel more connected to those around you while you're doing it is a win-win-win, especially for us in 2022. One of the reasons I dropped out of the PhD program and graduated with my master's degree instead is because while I love all of this research, I really want to implement it and help you implement it as well. So when the rubber meets the road, what does this actually look like? How do we ditch the self-critical lens of goal setting and goal attainment? And how do we welcome in a self-compassionate approach? This is an excellent opportunity to use one of my favorite belief-shifting exercises that I've shared in my group coaching program many times because it's powerful, it's simple, and it works. Further, if you are a mantra type, or maybe you want to try out mantras for the new year, this will get you to a mantra that helps you achieve your 2022 goals. So here's how it works. Do a brain download about all of the assumptions, the beliefs, the connections that you have based on your unique experiences for goal setting and goal attainment. To start you off, here are some prompts. In order to achieve my goals in 2022, I have to, and then play a little game of word association. Just fill in the blank, whatever comes to mind. Again, this is just a brain dump. I want to achieve this goal because, and list off all of the things. Or maybe you're feeling like I have to achieve this goal because, and some new words may come to mind. Of course, you can create your own prompts. This is just to get out on paper and get curious about what your assumptions and connections and beliefs are to goal setting and goal attainment, at least in this present moment. That may shift very soon. From there, create 4 columns in an Excel document, on a sticky note, in your mind, whatever works for you, and choose one, just to start, one of those beliefs that you outline. So maybe you have this belief or assumption, I have to achieve this goal in order to make my parents proud. Or I have to achieve this goal in order to care for my family. I have to achieve this goal in order to demonstrate that my business is a success. Take one of those and then in the second column ask, is this serving me? Is this helping me to set goals that feel really good and exciting and to set myself up for success in 2022? If it is, great. Go on and do some checks with some other assumptions and goals that you outlined previously. If it is not serving you, if it feels like it's limiting you or it feels a little scary or it's taking that self-critical approach, then go on to see if you could shift that belief to be a little bit more self-compassionate. I could shift it slightly by even just changing the word need. I want to achieve this goal in order to prove my business is a success. That switch could be enough to make you feel like it is serving you. A reminder of what self-compassion is, mindfulness, common humanity, and self-kindness. So ask yourself, how could I make this statement a little more mindful, a little more intertwined, knowing that my human experience is not an isolated one, knowing others have experienced and strived for and failed at certain things just like I have. Be a little bit more gentle, even if I have big ambitious goals, to not put so much pressure on them. Be kind to the human experience, which is unexpected and unplanned at times. And the final column is to ask, with that new brainstormed idea of how to be a little bit more self-compassionate in your belief shift, ask, is that serving me? And be stubborn about it. Don't stop playing with that third column until you find a belief that feels like it is serving you, how you're setting your goals for 2022 and setting yourself up for a chance to succeed in 2022. And where the mantra comes into this that I prefaced earlier is in that third column, you now have one or as many shifts as you did mantra to adopt as you walk into your goal setting and goal achievement for 2022. Maybe it's, I want to set this goal because I want to challenge myself to show up in a bigger way. And then pull out that whole phrase or just zoom in on one part of it. I want to show up in a bigger way. Of course, if you want to go more in depth, let's connect one-on-one or join my group coaching program where we're talking about goal achievement all month long. And aligned with my coaching style, I want to remind you that you are fully capable of doing this yourself. You're fully capable of knowing what feels critical and what feels compassionate to yourself. And I hope this video serves as a boost to remind you and teach you self-criticism not only doesn't have to be the way, but it doesn't work. So let's be kind to ourselves as we go into a new year, setting ambitious goals, attaining them, and enjoying the journey. So tell me, are you going to decide to set your goals a little bit differently? You won't be surprised that in my group coaching program, we are focused on goal achievement in our January focus, but I'm doing it a little bit differently. I'm supporting all of the members in my program to create space for their 2022 self. Create space physically, mentally, soulfully. So not only do they feel clear about their goals, they feel excited and open to start achieving them right away. If you want to be part of this guided process for January, click the link below. It's called the STIILL Experience, and we would love to welcome you into that community. You can also join the YouTube community if you haven't already by subscribing below. That also gives you notifications, including next week where I am guiding you through a New Year's meditation. And until then, watch this video next, because today you may have gotten in the right mindset to set goals for 2022. But this video walks through 4 essentials to attain those goals once you've set them.